If I told you there are some cars that weigh less than you do, you'd probably think I'm insane. One of the cars on this list weighs just 59 kilograms, light enough to lift by hand and drag out of a parking spot. Since the 1950s, engineers have been shrinking cars to the size of household appliances, some barely 1.26 meters nose to tail. They're absurd, iconic, and 100% street legal. Here are the 8 smallest ever made. So let's count them down from the top. Number 8. Messerschmitt KR200. Few car origin stories are more unusual than this one. The business that developed some of the deadliest fighter planes of we spent the 1950s producing small bubble cars instead. After the war, Messerschmitt was barred from manufacturing aircraft. So, the company focused its vast engineering talent on the road. Engineer Fritz Fend designed the KR200, often known as the cabin enroller or cabin scooter, which was built between 1955 and 1964. It sat 2 persons in tandem, one directly behind the other, beneath a hinged aircraft-style bubble canopy that made every brief trip feel almost like a flight. But the engineering hidden under that canopy was even stranger than the silhouette suggested. It was powered by a modest 191cc single-cylinder 2-stroke engine situated at the rear, which was sufficient to propel the featherweight bike through packed post-war streets with surprising agility. But here's the truly strange part. Because the 2-stroke motor could operate backwards. The KR200 had 4 reverse gears and could theoretically reach the same top speed going backwards as forwards. Drivers needed to be warned about this, and frankly, a fighter plane pedigree was only the beginning of how delightfully strange these little cars would become. Number 7. Velam Isetta. If the KR200 resembled a fugitive from an airport, the Isetta resembled a kitchen refrigerator that had discreetly learned how to drive. This spherical, 4-wheeled egg was the French-built replica of the Italian ISO original, and it featured one of the most endearing design eccentricities in automotive history. Forget conventional side doors, the entire front of the car swung open like a fridge, swinging the steering column out of the way and allowing the driver to enter directly from the front. It was unusual, theatrical, and oddly practical for narrow European streets. And that clever front door wasn't even the most surprising thing about it. The car's cloth canopy was more than just for looks, it also served as an emergency escape hatch in case you accidentally tipped the small bubble over and became trapped inside with no front exit. The name itself is charming. Isetta is just Italian for Little Iso. Despite its lightheartedness, this amusing little automobile has a profound history. A licensed BMW version of the same design became a runaway success in the 1950s, saving the German behemoth from financial ruin. Not bad for a car you climbed into by its own face. Number 6. Peel Trident, built on the windswept Isle of Man by the Peel Engineering Company. The Trident arrived as the cheeky, bigger sibling of Peel's most famous design, albeit bigger, is a word that requires strong air quotes here. In this example, the improvement simply meant that the car could accommodate a second seat side by side, which was considered genuine luxury in a class of vehicle when most competitors expected you to ride alone. A fully transparent bubble canopy sat on top, giving the entire vehicle the appearance of a rolling glass dome from the outside futuristic and indisputably eye-catching. Step inside, though, and the dream lost a little of its shine. Inside, the truth was a little less glamorous. On a sunny day, the translucent canopy reportedly transformed the tiny cabin into a slow-roasting greenhouse, allowing drivers to bake slowly as they drove along. Nonetheless, the public's desire for these delightfully ridiculous curiosities never waned. Demand persisted for decades, and in 2011, production was resumed, with each new Trident meticulously constructed to order for collectors and aficionados. The Trident, as little as it wasn't even the smallest thing to come out of Peel's workshop because it had a pint-sized partner in crime who took the notion of small to a whole new level. Number 5. Bridge Mopetta, 1.7 meters, 1956. Many of the cars in this list were mass-produced. The Mopetta was clearly not one of them. German designer Egon Breuch created it as a showpiece for the 1956 International Bicycle and Motorcycle Exhibition, seeking to impress the public with something small, sleek, and unlike anything else on the floor. It worked. The small, bubble-shaped roadster garnered a crowd of inquisitive observers. Buoyed by the publicity, Birch decided to put it into production. Though his production run was adorably modest, he constructed 14 mopedas in total, and that was it. What it lacked in numbers, it more than made up for in sheer personality. A single-cylinder ILO 2-stroke engine produces 3 horsepower, which is about what you'd expect from an exceptionally motivated lawnmower on a good day. It was never meant to be fast, it was designed to be cute, and it succeeded admirably. Today, that razor-thin production number has transformed every surviving model into an automotive treasure, with collectors paying exorbitant prices for the privilege of owning one. When there are fewer than 24 of something on the earth, the term rare doesn't even begin to capture its significance. Number 4. Gogglebile Dart, 1.8 meters, 1959. Australia may not seem like the most likely spot to give birth to a little sports automobile, but that is exactly where this one came from. Buckle Motors built the Dart, a low-slung fiberglass convertible based on the German Gogglebile microcar, and it appeared far racier and more expensive than its diminutive footprint suggested. From the side, it resembled a typical roadster, but had shrunk due to the wash. It was powered by a rear-mounted twin-cylinder 2-stroke engine available in 300cc and 400cc capacities, giving the lightweight small car a surprisingly furious turn of speed in town. Yet the Dart's wildest feature had nothing to do with what was under the hood. The Dart, however, had no doors. None to board. You simply stepped over the low-scooped bodywork and dropped directly into the seat as if you were vaulting into a bathtub. It sounds strange, but it complemented the car's stripped-down, open-air personality wonderfully. However, when your entire car weighs about the same as a handful of adult passengers combined, installing substantial door hardware begins to feel like an unnecessary luxury. Number 3. Foldamobile Silver Flea, 1.397 meters, 1950. We're now entering truly shrunken territory. The Foldamobile was manufactured by Elektromaschinenbau Fulda GmbH for nearly 2 decades, from 1950 to 1969, and its early versions were charmingly, almost endearingly low-tech. These initial versions were hand-built around hardwood frames, with thin aluminum skins stretched over plywood body panels resembling handcrafted furniture rather than modern automobiles. That dazzling, beaten metal shell glinted in the sunlight, swiftly earning the car its enticing nickname, the Silberflow, or Silver Flea. But this shiny little teardrop was far more influential than its tiny size ever let on. It was an apt description for something so little, sparkling, and swift to move through traffic. The Foldamobile's relevance, however, goes beyond its appearance. Many automotive historians credit this dazzling little teardrop as one of the initial vehicles that inspired the entire bubble car label, a term that would come to represent a golden period of miniature post-war motoring. A nearly 20-year production run is a truly incredible performance for any car, let alone one this little. But if you thought the Silver Flea was little enough to be surreal, wait till you see the next car on the list, which you could actually pick up off the ground and carry away. Number 2. Peel P50, 1.372 meters, 1962. This is the legend. Peel Engineering built the P50 on the Isle of Man, and it held the Guinness World Record for smallest production car for more than 50 years, a reign that nearly no record holder has ever matched. It has 1 seat, 1 door, 1 windshield wiper, and 1 headlight. And somehow, that stripped-back design hid an even more astonishing party trick. It weighs roughly 59 kilograms, which is light enough to lift. That's not a metaphor. The P50 has no reverse gear, so to get out of a tight space, you grasp a handle on the back and manually drag the car around. On Top Gear, Jeremy Clarkson famously drove one through the corridors of the BBC's offices, making it a television icon. For half a century, nothing on the planet became smaller until one determined man with a garage and a crazy idea knocked it off the top spot. Number 1. Austin Colson's DIY car, 1.26 meters, 2014. And here it is, the smallest of them all. In 2014, Arizona's Austin Colson dethroned the legendary Peel P50 as the world's smallest roadworthy car with a vehicle he constructed himself. Officially measured by Guinness World Records at 63.5 cm tall, 65.4 cm broad, and 126.4 cm long, it appears to be a child's toy that escaped from a theme park, but it is completely licensed, registered, and legal to operate on public highways. The story behind why it exists is every bit as charming as the car itself. Colson apparently created it as a romantic gesture for his future bride, and it now appears at parades and charity events, attracting crowds wherever it goes. It's live proof that you don't need a factory to produce history, just a garage, some patience, and a wonderfully crazy concept.